All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Mdot Transition software that we put together. This will help you when this time comes here at the end of this month and Mdot says, okay, we need new codes, but yet you're not ready to do the new code to the old code. So we developed a way that you can just continue going right along without ever having to slow down, stop, or hold off posting items for the Mdot transactions for your state trunk line. So everybody, so that's the good news of it. Our next webinar will be October 3rd, 10 a.m. The topic will be the new time card system is released on October 1st. So we are excited about that. We will have probably a second webinar during the month of October to fully showcase all the pieces of the time card system. But of course, we'll also cover updated topics, like I'm sure there'll be some Mdot information that cropped up at the very end here that we had to address. Check out what has been updated, and we'll cover those updates now. All right, so back here on 8/29, we did some updates to change the fixed asset look and feel screen. I'm not going to spend the time to show that. We fixed a help button in payment post to show the correct help. And then we updated the state trunk line update to use the rate. So what was going on there was people, when they were posting seasonal help, the rate that was being recorded at the top of the file was the rate you had keyed in on there, and Mdot wants what they call a blended rate or mixed rate. So we updated the state trunk line program to generate that mixed rate the Mdot wants to cover it. So if you have been modifying the file by hand, you should no longer need to modify the file by hand for that. Then we updated a couple of miscellaneous issues from that update, which was AP reports had a 245 issue. We fixed that. And comp time, we fixed an issue with comp time showing an index because we had to modify comp time for the new time card system a little bit. We did a couple of new reports, and we did the in this release that you picked up if you got it this morning, we released it last Friday night. We created a brand new report for your account list. That's the combination of three different reports we used to have. For payroll, we did an update to the journal to make the description for when you're importing a MyWorks journal to use the word MyWork instead of PR. So you could differentiate between the old time card import and the new time card import when you're looking at your imported journals in the journal list. And then we also allowed a grouping for inventory groups so that you can add permissions based on an inventory group instead of for inventory doing the permissions just for all of inventory or none of inventory. We added a spinner for a lot of the places where you would do something like where you change a code and it would say changing code. It was still doing it, but it still lets you click on things. So we changed that to put a spinner message in, so you know that it's still doing it and don't, so you won't be able to click on stuff. And then we did update the bill code maintenance to allow merging of bill codes. I'm going to cover that real quick, so you can see how that goes because that's kind of a bigger one. So if we go into customer, we go to bill code maintenance. We have all of these wonderful bill codes. All right, and let's say I wanted to get rid of, I don't know, general fund distribution. And that was supposed to be, or actually GPS, let's do the GPS locators was supposed to be general fund. So you just come in here to GPS and you change the code to gen fund. Click on save. And now it'll ask you, says it already exists. Do you want to merge the two together? And if you say yes, it asks you to verify that you really, really want to do it. And if you say yes, then you get the spinner and figures there, pick a code that there's a problem with it. Technically it did it, but I don't know what happened. So it looks like it did something really strange. So we'll have to work on it. But it was supposed to work okay. But that's how it's going to work when you get it. You can try it. It should, I mean, most bulk codes should work. I don't know what's going on with the Gen Fund. Figured I'd pick one out of the blue that was going to have a problem. Moving along, though, the next part we want to talk about is Mdot. Right now. You will see an Mdot transition. All right. So what's going to happen here is this is going to be the program that will let you go through the transition time and not have to worry about stopping or changing any codes. So we have at the beginning where you enter your maintenance account number 517 or A517, whichever you've been using for Mdot. We pick up what you've been typing into the Mdot updater. You'll click on load used activity codes. So what this is going to do is it's going to load in a file, and it loads all of the Mdot codes from Mdot that they have. And then we look at what you currently have in your contracts. So they, right now I have a contract of 028, and I have an original code in there, account code of 109. So with the new codes, 109 is being retired, and the updated code is actually 109 gets added 8 or 6 codes to it. So if you have 109, we're going to be adding those 6 to your chart of accounts. Same thing with the 119. 119 has 3 codes that are added. So we replace the 119 with these 3 codes. Now, what we're going to do is we have the 3 different buttons down here. So once you bring this up and you get the list of all of your different, places. So if I come down here, here's his 75 contract. Most of the numbers are just a single, 165 goes to 1650. So we're going to click on the add update activities. And this added the 2023 new activity codes to the system. So what that did, if we go back to the chart of accounts, okay. And we go into the tree view real quick just to kind of see. So if we look at his 517 account, and we look at the 028, you'll see here we added the 6th level account new code with the appropriate 7 level. It also updates the budget file, under general ledger, Mdot budget. There we go, this guy. You'll notice these have all been updated as well with the new names to it. So while we're in the transition mode between the two, while you're still finishing up the September build where you have activity to the older 119 code or the older 121 code, that you can still post to that all the way up until you're done with that billing. And then we've modified the billing file to know that when it gets to the year, when it's starting to build the fiscal year for 2023, in your Mdot file, it will now pick up the 4-character codes to use for that. So while you're still doing it, they can be posting to those 4-character codes in October. So there really isn't going to be any time where you can't be using the system. You don't have to hold any records. They could be posting to the old ones, as well as having the new ones. Then when you're finally done with your September billing, and you've got everything going, correctly there, you would come back, and let me just close this. You would come back to our program in the tools for the Mdot transition, and then you would disable the old activities. So we load the used, and then we disable old activities. So that took care of your 2022 Mdot activity codes and retired them from the system. It didn't delete them. It just made all the account numbers retired. So then if we go back again and look at our general ledger account maintenance. Coming up blank. It has been so long since I've looked at retired accounts. All right, so let's just go to find one here. The 201 8 plus 109 plus 0. Okay, so that was their old surface maintenance, and indeed we show it retired.
Yeah.
With the retired date I just did. So essentially what that does, what the program does is it does it all in one big batch for you to disable the old ones. And then we've been asked by some people to have a place where it will create a new template tree for their employees. So we built, another button that will do that. So what you want to do is once you've disabled the old and you've added the update, you want to close this. Then you can come back to the tool and run the, you want to make sure that before you run the create the template, well, I should say before you create the template, make sure you do the added update. But the problem is the template uses what's currently active. So if the old ones are still active, it's going to add them again. So you just create, and once you click the button, it'll go into the timecard template system. And it will just build the template. You still have to set permissions and everything to it. But in here, you will see a new template that we created called Mdot Transition. You can change the name if you don't like it. But then basically it takes your 28 and it adds all of the entries to it that are correct. Now a single entry that had sub accounts to it, so it adds each of the sub accounts under that. But if it doesn't have any sub accounts, then we just add the three, the level, the highway, and then what they're doing. So that's kind of how we put together the updated transition thing to help out everybody to generate things like that. So you'd have to give people permission to the new Mdot in the permissions tab. So if we come over here and we go to the old one, which would be time card permissions, where are you? Time card permissions, there you are. And we go to Henry, and then the old one, we say templates, and we have to give him access to Mdot trunk line account. And if you did have one that was the old one, you want to make sure you undo. If you did have that, you want to make sure you unset it. So you can't go into that old one and accidentally type there. The other thing we are doing, like I said, the actual trunk line update program that we should have it by next Monday for the release of the new Mdot and what you saw here with the Mdot transitions. If the new release is out there, you would see it, coming in before you calculate your October. Make sure you do have at least the one update that, is coming up. The thing we want to do is in there, the new trunk line calc program will have the ability to know the difference between the 3 and the 4 in it for the account level, for the activity code level. So when we go in and we're looking for, a 109, make sure that that's, doing for as long as you're in the fiscal year of 2022 or before, we're going to look for those. If you're not, then we're going to look for the new ones. But this way, with the way we have it configured, you should be able to still continue on posting the new information in at the beginning of October, even though you're still working on getting the billing out for the September billing. And there wouldn't be any downtime then in the system. Okay, so that covers that. The last thing we want to talk about is the update to the time card. The new time card system will be released October 1st. And everything should be reasonable for that to go out. What that means, though, is that by the following October 1st, that will be the last time we will officially be supporting the old time card system. Not to say that the old time card system won't run or won't be working, but again, we can't support both because I can't modify the old one. So I can only make changes to the new one. But the new one has a lot more features and functionality. And then should be a good webinar next month to show and tell. Like I said, we'll probably cover a little bit of Mdot changes just to make sure that everybody's on the right page. The next one being only October 3rd. So, and like every time, if there's anything that doesn't quite work right, we're always pretty quickly on the spot to get all that stuff repaired and fixed. I am done then, I think, with everything we've got to talk about for the new Mdot. Brian, did you want to say anything magical about the time card system? Brian's testing it right now from Chippewa.
Yeah, right now it's what I've been waiting for. Let's put it that way. Seems to be working good. I have 3 employees on it out in the garage right now, plus all the office staff. And I'm already getting, well, can I have that too? Once somebody out in the garage sees one of the guys using it, then they're coming in here trying to get hooked up themselves. So I think it's going to be very well received. And I have not found anything really wrong yet as far as the format, the layout. George and I talked about a couple of things and seem to have got those worked out, but everything so far has been positive.
All right. Anybody else got any other questions then? I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar. You guys have a good day. This will get posted up on the our website hopefully in a day or two.
You are now working smarter with ProFund Accounting. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.